Hey, you. Yeah, you. Are you ready to change the world? Well, maybe not you specifically. You're pretty chill, but you know, it's possible. One dude with some ideas changed the world. What if one man's ideas could shape philosophy, politics, and education for thousands of years? Meet Plato, the student of Socrates, and the founder of the first institution of higher learning in the Western world. Our story begins in 428 BCE in Athens, Greece. Plato was born into an aristocratic family. Now, his early life was pretty cushy. His dad died when he was young, so he was raised by his mom. And his family as fortune gave him the freedom to pursue knowledge instead of, getting a real job. As a young man, he studied under Socrates, learning the power of asking deep questions and seeking truth. Socrates was like, hey, you're pretty smart, Plato. Come hang out with me while I talk to people about stuff. And Plato was like, Socrates, I would spend my whole life listening to you talk about stuff. And then Socrates was like, well, good, because that's exactly what you're gonna do for the next 30 years. And then Plato was like, yes, master. After Socrates' death, Plato traveled across the Mediterranean, learning from different cultures. Eventually, he returned to Athens and founded the Academy, which is often considered the first university in history. It was like Socrates' hangout, except with more rules and less annoying students. Plato wanted to make the world a better place by making people better. So at the Academy, he taught philosophy, politics, and ethics. His goal was to help students find wisdom and use it to improve themselves and their society. But Plato wasn't just a teacher. He was also a writer. He wrote tons of dialogues featuring Socrates as a character, exploring justice, virtue, knowledge, and the ideal society. In one dialogue, Socrates was talking to some students about what makes a city just, and one student was like, well, obviously, you need a strong military. And Socrates was like, good point, but isn't there something better than justice? And the student was like, what do you mean? And Socrates was like, well, there est this one guy who est really into philosophy. And he has this theory about how the perfect city is ruled by a philosopher king. Someone who's super smart and uses wisdom to make decisions, not just power. And the students were like, wow, that sounds amazing. Can we bring him here so we can ask him questions? And Socrates was like, man, you're not gonna believe this, but he's actually right here, right now. He's been here for like 3 hours. Why don't you go talk to him? And then the students were like, oh, hey, Plato, you want to talk about how the perfect city should be run? And Plato was like, sure, let's go to my place. We, LL, have a bunch of wine, and then you can all live here, and we can rule the known world together. And then the students were like, no. We're actually heading off to war now, but maybe later. And then Plato was like, okay, cool, write about it. Over the next 30 years, Plato wrote tons of other stuff too, including his theory of forms. Basically, he thought the physical world is just a shadow of a higher, perfect reality. Like imagine a cave with shadows on the wall, and the people in the cave think those shadows are real. But then one person escapes the cave and they're like, hey, these shadows aren't real. There's this other world that's real. So Plato thought the physical world is like the cave and the world of forms is like outside the cave. Anyway, Plato's philosophy didn't stop at politics. He explored ethics, metaphysics, and knowledge too. He also had a lot of students, including Aristotle, who went on to start his own school. Together, Plato and his students shaped the foundation of Western thought, and their ideas still influence philosophy, science, and even psychology today. So, remember Plato? The dude who wanted to make the world a better place by helping people become better? He reminds us that seeking truth, justice, and wisdom is a lifelong journey. And if we're lucky, we might get to hang out with some wise people along the way. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, share, subscribe, and stay tuned for more history and philosophy in 3 minutes.